Hi, I'm Jason Houtsma, guitar instructor for worshipartistry.com. In this YouTube video, we're going to be taking a look at the song King of My Heart by John Mark McMillan and Sarah McMillan. And what we're going to specifically be looking at is the riff that's played on that chorus. Now, there are like 6 or 7 electric guitars on this song. I broke them into 2 parts and combined a number of the parts together. So in this lesson, we're going to be going over the electric, the acoustic, cover some other parts. If you want the full band lesson with charts, tabs, practice loops, everything you need to play this song, click the W in the lower right-hand corner and go over to Worship Artistry. We can see everything you're missing by just hanging out here on YouTube. But if you want to stay on YouTube, let's go ahead and dive in. We first come in on that very first chorus. We're playing really lightly, and it's kind of in the background, but you can really hear it. I'm kind of combining a couple different parts. And to do it, I'm doing some hybrid picking. So I'm keeping the pick in my hand, but I'm also using my fingers. So if you haven't taken the hybrid picking lesson in the 101 section, I highly recommend doing that. But essentially what we're doing is we're following our chords. I'll play what we're going to do first, and then we'll talk through it. On that's really nice, but we're going to take that off for now. I'm going to start with just an E minor 7, and the idea is we're always starting with a bass note and then plucking the G and the B strings just within our chords. We have our E minor, but then we can add this higher note with our ring finger to really make it sing. So we're going to pluck the E, both E's. So our thumb is plucking our pick is plucking the E string, and our ring finger is plucking the high E. So we're going 1 and 2, 1 E and A. Then we go to this D, which is really like it says a D suspended. It's you can call it a number of things. It's G over D, but essentially it's just your ring and pinky on the E and the B string. And we're going to do the same thing. Now the D is in the bass, followed by a C2, opening up that E string again. Finally back to our G. We do a little walk down. So there we're plucking the high E, the low E again, to the G, and then we can come up to our 2nd fret of our E string and alternate back to the G. So once again, and we're back in. Now, that's the main part. I've got a loop, and I have tabs of that down below. Now, if that's a little too tricky for you, you could always just do more of a straightforward. You could leave out that high note and just pluck those changes. So. That will work also, but for the record, for right now, I would like you to try the harder one. And if that's too tricky, back off to the easier part. All right, once you've got that, let's go ahead and take a look at that verse.